I'm Emma Black.
Welcome to the 10th episode of Locker Talk. Can you believe we're already on our 10th episode? If you've been listening to our podcast, then you probably have the next part memorized. But for all your new folks out there,
our podcast is a fun-filled voice-over audio conversation. Our focus is to learn something about an individual. Do you have a special talent or a cool pet or what? That individual could be you. We would love to see and get to know you. So if you're interested in being on our podcast, please contact whw@k12albemarle.org.
we have a very familiar face joining us today. She's caring, does a wonderful job of taking care of us when we don't feel well. She addresses the physical, mental, emotional, and social health needs and supports us in many different ways. Here with us today, we have Nurse Marden.
Hi, Nurse Marden. How are you doing today?
Hi guys, I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Giselle and I love icebreakers, so let's kick things off with a fun icebreaker question. If you could bring back any fashion trend, which one would it be?
Definitely bell bottoms.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I totally agree with you. I love bell bottoms.
Me too. I wish I had a pair.
Yeah, me too.
They should be making a comeback because I know they came back when I was around y'all's age, so maybe they'll come back again.
No, I have noticed them a while.
I feel like they are, slowly, but I think they're coming.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am a mom of 3 girls. 2 of them are middle schoolers, just like you guys, 8th grade and 6th grade this year, and the other one is a crazy 2.5-year-old toddler. So it gets kind of crazy in my house sometimes. But yeah, girl mom, school nurse, and yeah, love to go camping, hiking. We love the outdoors. So.
Ooh, super fun. I like that.
Sounds like a big, busy house sometimes.
Yes.
Definitely.
When did you choose to become a school nurse? Have you always wanted to be a school nurse?
Well, actually, when I was in nursing school, I did 2 rotations in school, so I knew I definitely was going to enjoy it. And then after I graduated, I started at Martha Jefferson Hospital and did that for about 1.5 years, and then a position opened up at Walton. I applied, and they hired me, and I have been there ever since, and I think it was around 2013, so this is my 7th school year.
Wow, that is impressive.
So at the beginning of the year, many kids were virtual. We understand that there were a few kids in the building. How did the restrictions of COVID impact your job?
Actually quite a bit. So in the beginning, when school started, I was having to do a lot of learn how to deal with COVID and how to contact trace. If a case came up, I would have to look into how to figure out who I would need to tell to quarantine and stuff like that. But even with the, few kids that were in the building, if they were sick, I had to look into it. Same with the staff members too. So, and even now, I still have to do that.
So did many cases come up at the beginning of the year? Like, did you have to do that a lot?
Well, it's kind of, a lot of times you guys are sick with other things than just COVID, because believe me, there are still things that are, you can get sick with that are not COVID, but there are a lot of symptoms that could be COVID, so we still have to treat it as if it is until we know it's not. So I still have to tell people who are sick, whether it's staff or students, that they would have to be out for 10 days from the first day of symptoms, or have a negative PCR test, or be cleared by a doctor before they could come back in the building. So, and that's still what I have to do today.
That's a big job.
It is. It's definitely caused me to have a few more gray hairs this year, I think.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I'm sure that being a middle school nurse isn't always easy, because you deal with a bunch of teenagers all day, but it can be fun. So tell us a little bit about being a school nurse. What's your favorite thing?
Actually being able to build relationships with you guys, because I get to take care of you all 3 years and get to know you. So I get to learn how to joke around with you guys, and then on the other side, we get to have serious conversations about your health and well-being sometimes too. So I feel like I definitely build different relationships with you guys than the teachers do. So
Yeah.
I really
it's
enjoy that.
Yeah, it's definitely a collective thing, especially for elective teachers. They're all like, I love my job because I get to like teach these kids for 3 years if they choose to come back to my elective. So yeah.
I always hear that too.
Yeah.
So, Nurse Marden, what is it like being a school nurse? Can you take us on a quick walk through a day in your shoes?
Every day can be something different, and it can be kind of crazy sometimes. But on a typical school year, I have kids who come take daily meds. I kids, if you have headaches or aches and pains, typically I would be able to give ibuprofen or Tylenol with a parent's permission. But this year I can't with COVID, so that's definitely been different. And then I have to, if y'all get hurt, I have to figure out, what happened, and if there's something serious there that we got to call mom for, or if it's serious enough, then I actually have to call the ambulance if I have, if that's needed. And then I have kids who have seizure disorders that sometimes have to deal with that on a daily basis sometimes. And then diabetic students, kids with severe allergies that we have to make sure they're not getting around something that's going to set that allergy off. So it can be pretty hectic sometimes. And then, there's the students who, if the counselors aren't available, then I have to help with students who are having emotional, meltdowns sometimes, and I'm glad to help you guys. But it can be something different every day.
I'm
For sure.
Very busy.
Yes. I can imagine so. I can imagine that it's hard dealing with sick kids. How do you handle that? Do you have like a certain routine that you always go to?
So typically, I'll, being a school nurse and being a mom too, I want to try everything I can before I have to send you home. But typically rest, and if it's a stomach ache, I actually keep peppermints in the clinic. And sometimes I can help settle your stomach, and then I make sure you're drinking plenty of fluids. But if for some reason I see that our flu numbers or like our stomach bug numbers are going up, if I'm just seeing a lot of reports of those, then I actually have to call the health department and touch base with them to make sure we don't need to do something different, or if we have to bring in some special cleaner and clean the school on a weekend or something before we come back. So I always have to know when you guys have the flu or strep or a stomach bug, so I can keep a note of those numbers.
Okay, I just have like a quick question. It's kind of an open-ended question, but feel free to answer. We know that the kids like 15 through 12 that COVID vaccine came out. So like, what are your thoughts on that?
That's a tricky one, Giselle, because I want to leave it up to you and your parents. That's a discussion that y'all need to have with your family members, because there's a lot of people who are still pretty against it for religious reasons or other reasons. So my advice is to do your research and talk to your family. Something that wants to happen, and I will be glad to answer questions about it. But even staff members have asked me about it, if it's mandatory at this point, and it's not. And as of right now, it's still definitely new, and it can be scary, but I will definitely answer questions about it, and I encourage you to talk to your parents about it.
Thank you for answering that. I just was curious of what a school nurse or a nurse would think about it. So thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
So before we go today, each episode we will be giving you a letter, a number, a symbol, or a word to help get the combination to the locker. At the end of the year, if you have the correct combination, you get a special prize. Today's word for your combination is have, Have. Make sure to write it down so you can win a special prize.
Well, Wildcats, that concludes this episode of Locker Talk. Make sure to come back next time.
A special thank you to Nurse Marden for meeting with us today. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
And we appreciate everything you do for our school and our community. So thank you.
You're welcome. I enjoy it.
So that's the combination to the locker today.
Have a great rest of your day, Wildcats. Bye.